The glory of God of Israel had gone up from the cherub where it had been to the threshold of the temple, and he had called the man clothed with linen who had the writer's inkhorn at his side. The glory of God had gone up, it said, from the cherub where it had been. When it says that it had gone up, in other words, it was removed from where it was. And I can't help but to imagine in my mind what is about to happen here on earth, whether it happens tonight before we leave, or tomorrow, or next year, or I don't know. But I know what's coming here now is the rapture of the church. That God's work in and through us as believers, that restraining force we talk about in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, that restraining force is going to be removed. It's the rapture of the church. There's something so sweet about God's work in and through us. And, you know, we talk a lot here at Our Watch. We talk a lot about what's happening in our culture. And I've wrestled with this in my mind. Like, I've wrestled like, gosh, Lord, am I doing what's right? Because it seems so negative. It seems so horrible. Things are just terrible. And I sometimes just, oh, Lord. You ever feel like that? Like, oh, it's just horrible. And should the Lord tarry, I got more bad news that I am not letting out until next week. It's just stuff that's happening in our community that I can't for the life of me believe is happening. I don't understand how we got to where we're at right now. And I mean, one thing you all know, I mean, in Temecula, they made the queen, the yeah, it was what's it called? Prom queen. It was a guy. Like, what is wrong with us as a culture? Or that's happening in Temecula, you know, but I always, like, I just try to stand firm on God's word. Ephesians 5:11, we expose these things. That's what God says, expose them. That's what light does. It shows what's in the darkness. Expose it. Don't let them get away with this. That's what we, as salt, we preserve, right? But I'm like, gosh, Lord, it just, what's happening? And like I said, sometimes I'm going, all right, Lord, am I doing what's right? Am I on the right track in doing this? And it just seems so terrible. And I know at some point God's going to remove the church and his work of restraining, revealing, and stopping these things from happening is going to be done. And I can't help but to sorrow for those who are left behind. Because, man, if we think it's bad now, what's going to happen when we're not here? Exposing these things and preserving our community, making sure that perverts aren't allowed around our kids. I mean, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? We know what's going to happen. All hell's going to break loose. I mean, people are going to do whatever they want because there's going to be nobody that's going to tell them it's wrong. The glory of God had gone up. It had been removed from where it was. And his glory being there was a blessing, even though people didn't see it. They didn't recognize it as the blessing it was. And that's what's going to happen when the church is gone. People are going to go, what's going on now? Like, oh my gosh, they're not going to know what just hit them.